world. Welcome to another edition of the Enough Talk L5R video podcast. I am Jesse Kabowski, the man who has listened to, downloaded, and has meticulously cataloged every single episode of Coast to Coast AM with both Art Bell and George Norrie. And I am joined by my good friend, the Magic Man. He's got magic hands, Paul Ashman. Paul, how you doing, buddy?
I'm very well. So I listen to a lot of sort of generic radio. I take a lot of drives. I was really delighted when I found Coast to Coast AM, and I'm a little upset that no one ever told me about it. I feel like this is one of America's great treats. I think it's a real treasure, and it sort of bums me out that I cannot say that I've listened to every episode because it was a sort of recent discovery for me.
This is so tilting. So the joke here, for those of you that don't know, is that me and Paul have taken a lot of road trips
joke.
together.
I share with the world sort of intimate humiliation about how I discovered this really cool pop cultural phenomenon late, and then you have to sort of turn it into something else.
It's not even a phenomenon, though. No one knows what the heck it is. Unless you're like a trucker or a stoner, you've never heard of Coast to Coast AM. And if you haven't,
more people should have heard of it.
Yeah, so right. So let's start here. If you don't know what it is, Coast to Coast AM is on whatever your local conservative AM talk show radio station is in your media market, and it's on from like 1 a.m. until 4 a.m. And it's just a bunch of people talking about like how they're vampires or how they're abducted by aliens, or they do some stuff about like the Earth is actually only
really
3,000 years older. It's the Earth is actually expanding. It's all this conspiracy theories, junk science, aliens. It's everything, man. This show is awesome. There's a whole episode about a lady talking about elves that lived in her kitchen. And it's all completely done with a straight face. So you gotta check it out. Coast to Coast AM. Paul hates the show. So I've taken a lot of trips with Paul.
That's not even remotely correct.
We drive, like, so when I'm in America, we do like 6, 7, 8 kotais a season. And we'll do these like long night drives. We leave at 8 or like 8, 9, 10 the night before, drive all night, get there, crash, wake up, crush an event, and then head on back. These sort of Iron Man drives. And I always listen to Coast from my driving section. I always take the late night section. I always listen to Coast. It's great. Paul, like, wake up in the middle of the drive. He'll be like, "What's this trash?" Throw on a Smashing Pumpkins, and then go back to sleep.
This is not correct. I mean, it's a dramatic interpretation of the events. Perhaps once, when I was very tired and groggy, I wasn't able to listen to it fully and sort of appreciate its genius. But I found out about it all on my own. No thanks to you.
No thanks to me.
You could have just said, "Paul, this is a really cool thing. Give it a chance." But we don't talk to each other in those nice ways. We don't try to make each other's lives better. We just tear each other down. That's what we do.
It's a very masculine friendship.
Is it?
We do know you.
Okay, am I to begin here? I guess I'll be going first, so I guess I'll get started.
You go.
This is for all of you fans of Strict. This is a strict one, so this is Ivory based up to and including New Order. And on my big New Order card here is this cool new monk, the wise guy. He's got sort of good numbers, and he interacts with rings. And then I've got Teroko, and then some of my other monks. This is also a new person. So it's sort of monks and Shugenja, I guess, because I've got 3, 6, 9 Shugenja and 12 monks. So it's a Shug monk deck. And it's a military deck. So there's some emphasis placed on having 3-force. Wataru kind of has 3-force and kind of does. I'll be starting the Ring of Air. And all my personalities are here for just sort of okay stats. Nothing way above board, but pretty good. And then the Yayo here has a pretty solid battle action to interact with items. So that is my personality base. And I'm pretty pleased with it. You'll notice that there's a consciously sort of higher chi stat. I do just a very small, ever so small smidgen of doing, which we'll get to when we talk about the fate. So these are my personalities. And, it's a strict, so there's not a bunch of uniques. It's just, 21 monk or Shugenja personalities. On the gold, I've got slightly above average gold production because I get to play Temple of Harmony in concert with the Gold Mine. And then every now and then I'll wander into Contemplated Shrine and that's interaction with the Ivory Courtroom. The idea is to sort of buy the Contemplative Shrine, discard a fate card, buy the Courtroom as an open. Now you've converted your fate card into a 2 gold holding. That's pretty cool. Famous Bazaar and Wisdom Gained fill out that. So it's pretty straightforward. Earthbone Temple is just, it's one of those you see and you think about and you want to give a try. I've got a bunch of earthy things and then one earth spell, and then I've got Backclan Girl. So, I mean, I love her. I love her to death already, but I mean, I love her even more if I have multiple Earthbone Temples and I start air and she's like 5 force or something. She can get pretty cool. Fate side. Now, the Fate deck is an amalgamation of things. I'm sort of trying out different stuff. I've got a couple of rings with long-term fruition because it's a thing that I do. I've got the Dragon Elite Inkyo, which is a really great follow. It's the only follow I'm running. This is just the best value follow. I might need to get another attachment in here. Victory through Deference because it's a really good card. Plan Departure, really solid card. Stone's pretty really. So these are all just like cards that I know to be efficient and have good rates and have powerful effects. And then Self No Self. This is a new sort of tutor card because I'm a little light on gas. I don't have a lot of really great cards. So this is one of those cards to help me sort of find one of the action cards. Same with Banish. Banishing Breath is a send home. Wrath of Osana will kill something. Razor Edge move back. This card here is one of the cards that sort of makes the deck work. It takes the slot of other back to the fronty type things, and it's got a discipline. Self-no help finds get. I do have 2 redirecting rages here. So my sort of 2 theoretically biggest whammies are redirecting rage and come one at a time. These are low focus value cards, and you have to play them very, very pinpointedly. You have to play them very, very precisely. But they're both cards that, like, when they do the thing you want them to do, they can just be like game-winning strong. Same with Victory and a little bit with Stone. So it's a little different in that I think a lot of strict decks end up playing a much higher saturation of effects, hoping for a sort of death by 1,000 paper cuts. I'm going for trying to throw a couple of haymakers out there, and there's not a lot of great haymakers, so we shall see how this progresses.
I really like Home to Ridge's Edge. I was thinking about that card a little bit today, and how it's a really good reason to be in monks generally.
Yeah. I do think that of all these, I mean, we've seen this exact effect a whole bunch, right? Move a guy in, but this one straightens the unit and the discipline effect. It's good for focus. I think it's a really solid card. I think it's one of the cards from the new order that might push this kind of deck into the forefront a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. The straighten specifically is a huge up on that card that sort of effect doesn't always have. So
Yep.
cool times. On the other hand, I'm playing Spider Fear Dueling. So Fear Dueling. So I'm playing some duels. I've got my duelists, and my sort of action is to just take some fear effects. All my guys kind of have dinky little fears. Otosaka interacts, and then Gecko. Gecko is really cool in multiples. Like if a game goes long, or even if you just happen to have like 1 or 2 of these guys in the mid game with a couple fear effects, he can get really big. So I think there's a good payout with.
How is it not
Gecko.
Geico? Is that not the spelling of Geico?
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Yeah, I guess it's Geico. Geico. Anyway, I think there's a good payoff with this guy, so I wanted to give him a try. Plus, 3 chi. Kageto, because he's sweet, he gives out weapons. And the Abbot. I'm really high on the Abbot. I think this guy is going to be environment defining.
Awesome card. Oversight should absolutely be in my deck, and will probably end up in my deck before we play our actual game.
Yeah, I think the trait on the Abbot is really innocuous. So like, there's a lot of text on this guy, and a lot of it looks irrelevant. Like, oh, I get a conspiracy token, I get a cloud token. Like he straightens old. Like you read the guy, and he's like, okay, he straightens holding. But the big payoff, like the reason to play this card is the first line. That everything they do has to pay 2 gold on him, and that includes battle actions. So I think the deck's not quite there yet, but someday there's going to be like a young Sensei Dragon deck or something that's got Ring of Air, and you just flush for the Abbot really fast, then give him a bunch of attachments and attack. And if they bowed out to do stuff on their turn, like, well, too bad. Now my guy's coming through, and you're not even allowed to target him.
Yeah.
So that's not really for this
Yeah,
deck.
I feel like the first time they target the abbot, they'll be okay, but every time after that, life will get pretty tough.
Yeah, so you made the comment that people play these Death by a Thousand paper cut decks. Well, this guy does a pretty good job against those. I'm playing him here though because I'm playing some big holdings. I got one Coastal Lane with triple Second City to find it, and I'm trying out Jade Bazaar again. This card can really bite you in the butt if you flip it on one with no other holdings, but I'm hoping with like a 20 holding deck I'll be okay. And we're running Jade Works as our 3 for 3 to buy it productively, so it's like kind of a pseudo 3 for 4 with that little combo. We're running a 3 for 3 because we're running 6 1 for 1s, Lane of Immorality, because it's awesome and produces a lot of gold. Bizarre for the flip, so we got 6 flippers and our clan holding. On the Fate side, so our Dynasty side sort of like make some duels, have some guys with force. Our Fate side's like make a bunch of duels, like Way of the Dragon, Do Not Delay. Where's our other one? Come one at a time. Come one running triple K. That's our only low focus value card. It's a grenade if we're focusing off the top, but it's the best card in Strict, so I would be remiss to not play it. And then I'm just trying out some other stuff. I went with a high saturation of discipline actions just to try to get some value off of focusing. So like Thrill of Daring is our movement in. We're always going to be going second, so we get the courtesy. Courage Beyond Questions is kind of a versatile card I wanted to try out a little bit. And Inspired Leadership I thought could be fun. Sometimes I can copy the Do Not Delay duel. Otherwise, I just get like it's another fear effect. And then just a couple weapons, a couple rings. I don't think there's anything super saucy in the Fate side, but I'll take it all together. It's a solid little deck. Just a good pace card military deck that I think can have a place in your test gauntlet. Paul, any thoughts?
I don't know. It's hard to evaluate. So a lot of Spider military decks have this situation where you put the cards in and you look at them and it feels a little less bright, especially dueling decks as well, because the nature of duels have changed so dramatically. There was a time when like a duel was just this innately powerful thing. They're not there right now. So we need to play. I need to see it in action. I do think that it might be a good military deck for Spider going forward in Strict, or at least this moment in Strict, in relation to sort of like what the other options available to the faction. Um, I don't know, but okay.
Sure. Let's jam it and see what happens.